All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brett at BDB Sports Media. Really appreciate Dean coming on. He's our, I would say, probably the biggest UGA expert I know. So I really appreciate you coming on, Dean. He's the big guy over at DAWGPOST. If you get a chance, go over there and subscribe to those guys. They put out a newsletter all the time. Appreciate Dean being here. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, man. Exciting. Well, I don't know how exciting time of the year, but it's exciting week with G-Day rolling up for sure.
Yeah, upcoming G Day is always kind of the little bump I think all football fans need. Some of us just don't really get into to the football. I mean, the basketball aspect, and I'm one of those fans. While I love UGA sports, I struggle. I struggle so hard to get excited about basketball. I do like softball and I do like baseball, but the seasons are so long, it just doesn't seem to have the intensity that football does. So but that having been said, coming up this Saturday, we have the annual UGA G Day game. And this season, it's not being televised. Uh, but can you can you kind of give me your thoughts on that, Dean?
Well, I mean, we've come to a point where the schools are trying to limit exposure in the spring so that their players won't get recruited in the portal. I think, look, I don't run a football program, but I got to say, I think that the more exposure you can get, the better. But G-Day, at least there is a G-Day. Look, Georgia and all these other schools, this is the new world that we're living in, and they're getting paid tens of millions of dollars by Disney or News Corporation if you're in the Big Ten for the content that is the players playing on the field, and that involves softball, baseball, basketball, and spring games. So this is not gonna be this is probably not going to be the last G-Day that's not televised, but it's also very possible that it's one of the final ones that's not televised because the media partners are paying, again, a lot of money for this content, and Georgia's one of the largest brands that's out there. Well, certainly one of the largest five. So I don't know. I think for the fans, it's a disservice. There's probably 11 million, 12 million Georgia fans in the country, and they're wanting to see it. And everybody can't go to G-Day. I mean, if you live in, Texas, this is the only way to see G-Day is to watch it on TV. So I think it's disappointing. It's not the end of the world. At least there's a G-Day, but the schools, I think, need to make sure that they realize that they're at where they're at because of the fans. They're not at where they're at because of anybody else.
Yeah, I had this exact same conversation with another Georgia fan. They live out of state, and he told me, he said I need you to text me what's going on. I need to know, how does the quarterbacks look? How does the offense look? How does the defense look? Does it look good? Does it look coordinated? That's so hard to describe to somebody when they could just watch it with their own eyes. There's so many things that go into televising the game. Had it be your first time, you got to get a slot. You got to find out, all the broadcasting stuff. Great. But whenever you're a big brand, like you said, like UGA or Texas or Ohio State or any other school, it's almost automatic. It's not difficult to do. Now, it may be on ESPN2 or Fox Sport 2 or whatever it is, but it's televised. You can find it.
Right.
I all of this to me kind of goes back to, I don't have a problem with NIL. I think NIL needs some adjustment, but I think the biggest thing that's causing some headache here is this late in the year or early in the year portal window thing. If this goes away, I think the portal window should be after the season and before spring practices start. So at the end of the season, if you want to transfer, go. But once you're locked in, and you're locked in until next year, until the portal window. I think that screws up so many things for the fans, for the players, for the coaches, and just the program as a whole.
But there's not been good leadership at the at the NCAA level, which is the NCAA, for all of the complaining about the NCAA, that is the schools. So they are there. They're there for a reason. It's a way to organize. It's a way to do the basketball tournament and everything other than big time college football. But it's the schools can adjust this too, and they can put parameters around what they want, and they're just they're not effective at this. This is the school's fault. This isn't anybody else's fault. It's the school's fault that
Yep.
we're at where we're at. They need to the five commissioners of the big five commissioners need to get into a room and come to an understanding of what the next 15 years of college football and college basketball is going to be like, or it's going to be chaos the entire time. Chaos will only benefit the big brands, to be honest with you. But we may be at the point where the big brands are all that's going to benefit anyway. I mean, the likes of let's just say the Wichita States of the world in basketball, and perhaps the Boise's of the world in football, they're never going to have success in the future because all their quote good players are going to be gone because of the portal. If they adjust the way that the portal works, you can change that. NIL that's not going to change, but the way in which the players just can't get up and move twice a year at 2 points during the year, it's too chaotic. When the signing day is chaotic. There's a lot of problems with the calendar in football. I mean, a lot of problems with the calendar in football, and it's it's where we're at because we've never organized in a significant, meaningful way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And hopefully after a couple of years of these programs getting a grip or a little bit of a grip on how to handle NIL, they can now focus some of their attention on fixing some of the other problems that's being created by the transfer portal and some of the other things that go on. So, well, let's jump into the 20. I wanted to go over the 2025 schedule here. For those of you who don't know, the 2025 schedule is a direct flip of last year's schedule. Oh, before I move on, April 12th is a G-Day game. It's about 5 days from today. It's at 1 p.m. at Sanford Stadium. You need to order the tickets ahead of time. They're like $10 a piece, but there's plenty of tickets left. So if you plan on going to the G-Day game, go ahead and get your ticket. Download your ticket. Take a screenshot of it on your phone because I'm sure, as Dean will tell you, the internet signal at the stadium on G-Day is not the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try to download it if you're standing there in line and you're trying to download it, there's 40,000 other people there that's connected to that cell phone tower nearby, and it is absolutely abysmal. So just as a heads up, friendly reminder, go ahead and get those downloaded ahead of time. Okay. The upcoming schedule kicks off Georgia with Marshall. Nice, I would guess you would say kind of a cupcake game on August 30th. Last day of August. I love seeing an August game. Just makes me feel better because it's technically in August. And I'm going to run through the schedule here real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about it. Marshall at Sanford, Austin P a week later at Sanford, and then a week later we're in Tennessee, September 13th. We have a bye week, just like Alabama does, has a bye week, and then both Alabama and Georgia play each other. Both Alabama and Georgia have a bye week before they play each other on September 27th. Then we play, and that's at Sanford Stadium. Then we play again the next week at Sanford Stadium. We play Kentucky. Follow that up. We'll go to Auburn. Then we'll come back home to play Mississippi Ole Miss. Then we go down to Jacksonville November 1st. Then we're at Mississippi State. Then we play Texas at home and Charlotte at home. And then, of course, Georgia Tech and Atlanta. So just kind of your thoughts in general overall, brushing over that, Dean.
You're only playing 3 road games.
Yeah.
And one of them is in Starkville. So I think it's about as good a situation as you could possibly have, Brett. But there will be a game that's more difficult than people realize that we don't know yet. But the one that jumps out is Texas at home. Alabama, of course, a brand name, but I don't know what Alabama will be like. Florida and Jacksonville, and then at Tennessee and at Auburn are always difficult. You're playing Tech in Atlanta, but it's going to be a Georgia crowd at the Dome. So I think this is as favorable a schedule as Georgia has had in a long time. At State, that should not be a problem. And then, Kentucky at home. I would imagine Ole Miss at home won't be the end of the world. But there's a lot of winnable games here. Their over-under, I think, is 9.5. I would take the over for sure, just kind of looking at this. It's not an easy schedule, with, again, the brand names, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, just alone right there. Nevertheless, Ole Miss, Florida, and Auburn. But Georgia Tech might be a tougher game than people realize. In Atlanta, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't see a lot of losses on here.
I don't either. This is a very favorable schedule for Georgia. Being close to home, having a home field crowd, in which we needed it after last year's almost having no home games, in my opinion. Especially playing Alabama at home. I know there's this kind of this bad taste in Georgia's mouth. For those of you who don't keep up on the stats, this will be the first time that Georgia has played Alabama at home in the past 10 years. And Georgia has only beat Alabama one time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the last 10 games. And 2 of those losses, by the way, were in Athens. And the only time we did beat them was in Indianapolis. So if you want to go see a game, if you had to circle one on this one, to me it would be a coin toss between Alabama or Texas.
Yeah.
Both of those being played at home, it's a great chance to go see just 3 powerhouse teams just slug it out. I think it's going to be great.
Well, they should beat Alabama. That's all there is to it. It's not a road game. They are better than Alabama. Texas is probably the coin flip game of the year. Georgia will probably be favored. They're at home, but we don't so much. There's been so much transition in college football this year, Brett, at quarterback, whether you're talking about Texas or Ohio State or Alabama in Georgia. The high-end schools, the schools that are challenging for national championships, they have had a lot of movement. Alabama and Texas being in Athens, it's as big a home schedule as Georgia's had in a long, long time. They get Ole Miss, which I think culturally is a big game in Athens. It's not like Auburn when they come to town, or when, probably South Carolina comes to town, to be honest. But Ole Miss is some sort of weird dynamic in its own. Of course, they've got decades of playing Georgia from the 50s and 60s to the 2002. So there's a lot of tradition there. But this is about as I certainly could see Georgia being undefeated going into the game with Texas. I can see Georgia being undefeated in the regular season. My suspicion is they'll lose somewhere. I just don't know where. Going to Auburn is a lot harder than people realize.
Yeah, Jordan-Hare is a tough stadium to play in. If you're a diehard Georgia fan and you've paid attention a long time, it's the past recent decade or so is not indicative to what we've traditionally seen out of an Auburn team, and Auburn is starting to get better, kind of back to what they used to be. I've had my heart broken many times watching what goes on at Jordan-Hare. That place is like a miracle factory. It's just weird.
Yeah.
One more thing here. I want to go over kind of the UGA roster as a whole, not the whole roster and not a whole lot of in-depth stuff, but looking at the roster turnover, I guess that you could say we've lost some good players, but I think a lot of people are discounting the amount of quality players that we have there now and that are coming back off of injury. And I'm going to go over a few of them here. We have Nate Frazier, who was a true freshman last year, who averaged 5 yards a carry, had 133 carries, and 671 yards. He's coming back. We've got Dylan Bell coming back, which a lot of people I think have forgotten about. Dylan Bell was our third best rusher. He had over 100 yards, and the ball was spread around pretty good. Branson Robinson should be back. We've picked up some other players that are going to be really quality players. And I think Gunnar Stockton is going to play into that running back room as well. Georgia's wide receiver room looks extremely good right now. By the way, Dylan Bell is our top returning wide receiver. Arian Smith obviously gone, Dominic Lovett gone. But Dylan Bell is going to be our top wide receiver. So our third best running back and our top wide receiver are coming back. Lawson Lucky, Cash Jones, Oscar Delp, London Humphreys. For those of you who don't know who London Humphreys is, London Humphreys is a very, very good wide receiver. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He came over from Vanderbilt, I believe it was, and he was their best guy over at Vanderbilt. I mean, a little bit of time in the program here. I think he's going to be somebody who kind of stands out. Colby Young's going to stand out. But the guy who's making all the waves right now is Zachariah Branch. And I'm really excited to see how he does on G Day. Kind of your thoughts?
We're going to see if he plays on G Day, but yeah.
So I think if you're a scout of one of these other teams, which I don't know why you wouldn't televise the game, because it's not like it's difficult for a Michigan coach to put on a Chattanooga Tech hat and go scout your players like we've seen done in the past. I think it would be pretty easy for any quality recruiter to go to a G-Day game or a spring game and watch these players play and be able to determine in person whether or not they're electric. Seeing people in person play is completely different than watching it online. You really get a better feel for the speed. And Dean can tell you, I can tell you, and I'm sure Ryan and those guys can tell you as well. When you're standing on the sidelines, it's not like watching it on TV. When you're standing on the sidelines and these guys are going by you at what seems like the speed of sound, it's just you're dumbstruck. They're so fast. They're so big. It's scary how good they are. When you see it on TV, everybody looks the same size. But whenever you're standing on the sidelines and everybody out there is a foot taller than you and moves like they're floating on air, it's crazy. It's crazy. So what are you going to be looking for at G-Day? What are you looking to see, Dean?
I think the biggest thing about G-Day specifically is, particularly with the number one units, are they fundamentally sound? That's the biggest thing. And is the run game enough on offense to where people aren't going to freak out the whole summer, offensively and defensively? Like, you don't want to see 300-400 yards rushing, and you're not, because they're going to throw it the whole time, I would imagine. Yeah. But I think really how many penalties are on the first team, and can they throw and catch, block and tackle? I mean, it's that simple. Because it will be such a limited practice that that's what you go on. I think you look at the offensive line, which will not have everybody, and you say, can this offensive line win the SEC championship? And then you look for how many mistakes are out there. And I that's where I'd start, because what you see at G-Day, for those of you who will be there live, it won't be what it will be like in the fall, because probably, like Brett was saying, he wants to see Zachariah Branch. Well, he didn't scrimmage on Saturday, so I don't know why he would scrimmage at G-Day. Noah Thomas, what does he look like, the transfer from Texas A&M? There's always something to be, you can get your Larry Munson on if you want to, and you can sort of Disney Dawg if you want to from G-Day. But I think the biggest thing is, what do they look like fundamentally? Because that will tell the tale of how far they have to go before they have to go to Knoxville. The trip to Knoxville, they should win that game, but that will be the first yard stick in the season.
I agree. Well, guys, really appreciate Dean coming on. I don't know if Dean has any more Double Dogs or Dogstruction books, but if he does, you guys should go read those. They're outstanding. The pictures are incredible. Dean and his team took all the pictures. I believe the easiest place to get them is either on the website or to go to the Red Zone. Great people over at Red Zone, by the way. Excellent people. Really nice. If you happen to show up in there and somebody's super nice behind the counter, don't be surprised if it's one of the owners. They're really great people. So, Dean, are you going to be hanging out at the Red Zone anytime soon? People can come by and meet you?
I'll be there Friday. I don't know the time. It will be afternoon, probably 3:00. And I'm excited to be back at Red Zone, checking everything out and seeing people and saying hello.
Good deal. So, guys, really appreciate Dean coming on. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Love what you guys are doing over there at DAWGPOST. Go subscribe. Go check out DAWGPOST. Great people over there. We'll see you guys real soon. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sorry. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, I get in a rhythm. So, Dean and his team are great people. Really easy to reach out to and talk to. So, if you guys want to reach out, so appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. God bless. Dogs.